So this week we will be working with Evap systems. We had a vehicle come in today as a live job with an Evap leak code. So we will be using the smoke machine to test for a leak on the vehicle. So on this Chevy Cruze, you can see the two codes we have are here. There's a small leak detected and a purge solenoid control circuit code. So after some testing, we connected a vacuum gauge to the purge solenoid. As you can see, it is pulling a vacuum despite the purge solenoids being closed based on the scan tool. So in this situation, it does look like the purge solenoid is the source of the leak. We had a second vehicle come in with an evap leak as a live job here. This old ugly Honda belongs to this guy. But as you can see, when we press the smoke machine button, you've got several major leaks coming out of this rusted pipe right here. So this is the same Civic we were looking at yesterday. As you can see, this is the evap line. It is metal, however, it is rotting out fairly bad for the entirety of the vehicle. So we're currently looking at our options. Depending on how bad it's leaking, we might either just replace the part between the connector up here to about there where the leaks stop, or we might end up having to replace the entire line. So today we'll be working on this 2018 Hyundai Tucson Lab vehicle, and we'll be experimenting with the OBD2 system for the evap testing.
Alright, so here we got the good old Alto hooked up, and we went to active tests to see what you can activate throughout the car with the scan tool. And so far, canister shut-off valve toggling is an option. Canister shut-off valve leak test, and you can also check the canister purge valve as well. Click on one of these, and then it'll tell you what conditions you need to meet to actuate and or toggle the sensors. So here we're going to be showing you guys how to see if the purge valve is actuating or not. So this continue time, it's going to be clicking on and off every 1 second. So we're going to click start, and when I click start, I'll show you the purge valve. And if you listen carefully, you should be able to hear it clicking on and off. So it's right here, and if you listen carefully, you can hear it clicking. Okay, so here is the canister vent valve, and Daniel is going to actuate it, and you guys can hear it actuating on and on. And you can hear that clicking sound. That is it being actuated through the scan tool to make sure it's working properly. Alright, so here on this lab, we have taken some parts apart to get to the purge valve to be able to ohm it out. We're currently reading at 20 to 20.4 ohms. We just wanted to see what a good working purge valve resistance is. Alright, so here we tried to test this, but it wouldn't let us test it with the car running, and obviously you need vacuum. So here we have a vacuum gauge hooked up, and when I provide vacuum, it stays at about 5. Daniel here will actuate on the scan tool, and it'll go down to 0. And this is just a good little test to see if the purge valve is working correctly.
Alright, so we're now using a vacuum pump to test the rest of the system. As you can see, we got it here to about 1 inch of vacuum, and we have the canister vent valve currently closed, so it is holding vacuum at the level we got it to, and nothing appears to be leaking. As you can see, once I open the vent valve, that vacuum will drop. Alright, so we had this Chevy Cruze come back for another visit. It looks like we did replace the solenoid, and that got rid of one of the codes. However, the vehicle does still have another code. So it looks like a small evap leak is a common symptom on this vehicle. Here I have a test procedure that I found in a TSB that GM recommends to use for this issue. So with the scan tool, I commanded the system completely closed. See, I used the seal system command here. But based on the fuel tank pressure sensor, you can see I put the tank in vacuum. However, that vacuum is now decreasing. That means there is a leak somewhere. As you can see, I can quickly put the system in vacuum again, seal it, and it will rapidly lose that vacuum. Alright, so we commanded the system to seal with the scan tool here, and we injected a whole lot of smoke with the smoke machine through the purge valve up here. And what we found was actually there seems to be a bit of smoke coming from the top of the filler neck, if my lab partner can show you real quick.
So right here we got this cover pulled. It's gonna be really hard to see it, but it's mainly leaking from this filler neck. It's kind of rusty, and obviously you can't smell it through the video, but it smells like fuel. You can just smell the fuel venting out.
As you can see, when we use the smoke machine, you can also see that the air flow meter indicates an air leak as well. So we have the Chevy Cruze in from yesterday, and we now have it in the air with the wheel off as well as the fender well. So the previous day we found the smoke coming somewhere from the filler neck here. So if we wait a minute for the smoke to build up, the smoke is seeping out of that filler seal right there. So I'm not sure if we will proceed with the replacement. However, if we do need to replace that filler neck, it involves taking the housing off here with just 4 clips, and then the filler neck can be removed with a few bolts and a hose clamp being undone after that. We now have the filler cap housing removed with the proper adapter installed on the filler neck. As you can see now, if we add any smoke, it immediately begins to seep out from the back of that filler neck seal. After removing the filler neck and using a wire brush to clean it up, we found 2 holes here on the back side that we couldn't see from inside the vehicle. After patching up the filler neck, you can see with the flow meter on the smoke machine that the patch was successful and the leakage is within acceptable parameters.